Subdividing Land and Its Requirements. My name is Onika Lopez, and I'll be your host for this evening. For those of you who are new to the community, welcome. And just some information. DL Daniel and Associates is a locally incorporated limited liability company with its main focus being on democratizing law through legal education and providing legal administrative support services for the business of practicing law. Presenting for us this evening, we have Ms. Shakila Daniel and Mr. Pierre McLean. Ms. Daniel is the current managing director of DL Daniel and Associates Limited and is a certified and formally law-educated senior legal, administrative, and research consultant. She has well over a decade of experience. You have to turn off your mic.
Go ahead.
You have to turn off your mic.
My.
Sorry about that. She has well over a decade of experience in matters pertaining to property, land, and probate law, and has been instrumental in the meticulous aspects of the same for several land development and land procurement projects, both in the private and public sectors. Ms. Daniel's expertise has been solicited by several local governmental and non-governmental agencies over the years, such as the THA, the HDC, and the HCL, just to name a few. She has worked closely with members of the conveyancing departments of several new local law firms for drafting purposes, the investigation of titles, establishment of company asset status, and verification approvals. Ms. Daniel is a member of the TTALCPO and a property and administrative law lecturer for Esquire Professional Institute. Mr. McLean is the managing director of GDP Investors Company Limited, a real estate and property development company doing transactions in Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados, Guyana, and the US. Mr. McLean has been in the real estate sales industry for the past 8 years and has moved on to property development, design, and custom home building. GDP Investors can be found on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and PintTT. Please note that the information provided here today is for general information only and does not constitute legal advice. You should consult an attorney at law of your choice in any legal matter that you may have. Some house rules for this evening's proceedings. All participant mics will remain muted during the presentation portion of the webinar. There is a chat function available. However, we encourage you to hold your questions or comments until the question and answer portion of the event. First up this evening, we have Ms. Daniel. Ms. Daniel, the time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Onika. I always appreciate your very professional and encouraging introduction. I think we sound pretty well ourselves when each time we introduce us. Thanks for that gracious interview. And we're really, that gracious introduction. And we're really, really happy to be here with you guys this evening. And um, very excited for this topic because it is obviously dear to my heart. I love land law, and we have had the privilege and honor to have a lot of experience so far in this particular topic. And I'm here and joined this evening with Mr. McLean to just give some practical information in relation to the policy requirements for this topic and what is really the legal administrative and the legal framework surrounding the requirements for subdivision of lands. As the disclaimer would reiterate, this is not to be considered as legal advice. We are just giving you the local information and its practical application to assist you. I know that we have quite a few of you registered for this webinar. We're glad that you did join us. We have some young and new upcoming attorneys at law, real estate agents, developers alike, and we're hoping that the information can be helpful. All right, so Mr. McLean, how are you this evening?
I am great, Ms. Daniel. And yourself?
I'm all right. Long day at work today, but we're here this evening to discuss.
Right.
So, subdividing lands, and I'm hoping we have the question and answer forum. So, as we present, please feel free to interact with us. We want to keep this as engaging as possible. The purpose of these webinars are not to be lecture style, but it is a discussion forum. So, we will try to revisit some of the information and reiterate it as much as possible so that you can understand it to the best of your ability. All right. So, Mr. McLean, practically in your how many years now have you been in the development arena and doing real estate and property development?
So I've been in first of all, I want to say good afternoon, a pleasant good afternoon to everybody on board this evening. Thanks for supporting DL Daniel this afternoon, taking the time out of your busy schedules. I've been in the industry for some 8 years, all right? So 8 years starting in real estate, and I did some training locally as well as overseas with some well-known developers from HGTV and various networks to allow me to come back home and practice locally. So that is what I would say is my forte or an experience in the field of real estate and development.
All right. And in terms of, so today we're talking about subdividing of land. Now, there are many reasons why landowners, would-be landowners, etc., may want to subdivide their lands. In your experience, what has been some of the reasons where you have clients coming to you and their intention is to cut or subdivide their lands? Perhaps you could start up with perhaps defining when we say subdividing, what do we really mean?
So that would involve having a large parcel of land, maybe an acre, half an acre, or more, and seeking to legally divide it into smaller parcels. The minimum size being 5,000 square feet. That is what we obtains locally. So usually the reason is financial. It's money driven. Once lands become approved for subdivision and residential use, the value immediately goes up, and this could be done with paperwork. So that is a key factor, a driving factor in why persons seek to subdivide.
Right. So, for the purpose of our participants, when we speak about subdividing lands, we essentially mean dividing or cutting up your bigger pieces into smaller portions. Right. And when Mr. McLean mentioned just now, he said legally doing so. So, you could desire, let's say you have inherited or you have bought 10 acres of land and you have 10 children. It may be your desire to then give each of your 10 children 1 acre of land. However, as he would have mentioned in terms of square footage, etc., you can't just go about doing that. You can't just decide, I would like to cut my land in the shape of an L or in the shape of a T or give five or do so. There are requirements for that and certain provisions. And we're going to get right into that in terms of the Governing Act, right? That we're going to be talking about this evening. And the permissions required and lands under the RPO, lands under old law. What do we mean by that? What permissions do you need and how does the town country plan and division come into play? All right. So, Mr. McLean, are you ready to get right in?
Let's go.
All right, let's go.